Okay, so what we want to discuss today is the liquidation procedure for a creditor's voluntary liquidation. So the first step would be the initial advice. So that's telephone calls and usually a couple of meetings where we get to have an understanding of your company and what it is you want. And then if we've agreed that creditors' voluntary liquidation is the right procedure, you will then hold a board meeting. We provide all the documentation for you and you decide that it's going into liquidation. We will then, on your behalf, notify the creditors that it's going into liquidation, and it's usually going into liquidation about 2 weeks after creditors have received the notice. And it just basically says the company cannot pay its debts as and when they fall due, and it's going into liquidation. And then shortly before the date of liquidation, they're provided with a liquidation report that we write on your behalf, which gives creditors details of the company's assets and its liabilities, but also an explanation as to why it's gone into liquidation and why they're not getting paid. And so don't forget there's, reasons why people aren't getting paid in this scenario were COVID, lockdowns, energy crisis, the cost of living, etc. And so we write this report to explain to creditors why they're not getting paid on your behalf. And so that gets sent to them. And then there's a meeting that's held that puts it into liquidation. Again, we provide all the documentation. And once it's in liquidation, I take over as liquidator. I carry out all the statutory filings, so at Companies House, at the London Gazette, and also ensure the liquidation. All these things that we have to do by law, I will carry out, and then I will do the liquidation. So that's the liquidation in a nutshell. So there's the initial advice meeting. There's the formal meeting where you agree for it to go into liquidation. There's the notice to creditors that it's going into liquidation, and then that liquidation report to creditors explaining everything to them. And then there's that final meeting that puts it into liquidation, and then I take over as liquidator. So as I said, all the paperwork, all the legal documentation is prepared by us. We hold your hand throughout the process in getting it into liquidation in a correct way. And then I take over as liquidator. If you've got any queries or want to go through the procedure in more detail, or that you've got certain questions as to how certain things slot into that process, please get in touch. I'm more than happy to tailor this procedure for you and give you that advice. So please contact the office if you've got any questions. Thank you.